Hey, how's it going, everybody? So I'm back with another late 2022 review. I mean, it is January, so I figured what better use of my time than to catch up on the good movies from last year that I missed, right? And this one actually came to my attention in the way of a recommendation of sorts from my friend Mike, aka The Real Fifth Beatle. Just search The Real Fifth Beatle on YouTube or Twitter and he will be there. Great guy and really worth checking out. Anyway, while we were discussing our year end favorites, this movie came up in the conversation with specific reference to Rebecca Hall's performance. And it's another Shudder exclusive, and they've been on a good run this year, so naturally I felt inclined to check it out, all things considered. And I'm actually really glad I watched this movie. In fact, I was immensely involved in it. I just enjoyed it way, way more than I was expecting to, which has happened more than once this year. So, again, it's been a good year for horror. Written and directed by Andrew Seman, Resurrection stars Rebecca Hall as a successful single mother living in New York who seems to generally have it together until one day when a man from her past starts appearing just about everywhere that she goes and stirs up a lot of fear and emotional rawness and haunted episodes from her past that she's clearly been working hard to suppress for a long time. And Rebecca Hall's talent for portraying people who are dealing with trauma just below the surface has never been put to better use than it has here. Watching all her trauma and vulnerability come brimming to the surface slowly, minute by minute, as the movie progresses, until it's practically leaking out of her eyes, is done with such maturity and subtlety and control that I honestly think that there should be some awards consideration here. And in fact, Rebecca Hall gets one monologue in this movie that, while it's not quite on the same level as Mia Goth's monologue in Pearl, is still really terrific work. It's a more moderated monologue delivered with a lot of nuance and subtlety and very gradual sort of shifts in emotions, but it's taking you through no less range than Mia Goth. While the movie is not quite perfect, in my opinion, Rebecca Hall's performance is. I have a feeling this is one of those movies that will be overlooked and forgotten about more or less come awards season. But for anyone out there who might be watching, if my word counts for anything, please, awards voters, do not pass this one by. Give it a look-see. Rebecca Hall is working as hard in this movie as I have ever seen an actress work. Casting Rebecca Hall in this part obviously gives the character a certain amount of innate likability and sympathy. I like that they don't just lean on that or try too hard to make this character likable. There is more than one moment when she's starting to have her meltdowns where you totally understand how the people around her feel in terms of their own fear and frustration with her. I really commend the director and the actress for never trying too hard to steer the character in any sentimental direction. Casting Tim Roth in the role of the man from her past is absolutely crucial here. Yes, obviously, Tim Roth is a fantastic actor, but more than that, he has a whole history of playing scumbags at this point. The kind of iconic weight that he brings to this type of character means we are instantly intrigued and buy into this without even really learning much about him. We have absolutely no trouble buying him as someone to be unsure of, and also someone that Rebecca Hall's character would be afraid of at all. And this is a movie that does not give you any flashbacks or really confirm any of the major suggestions in terms of the mystery that is put forth in this movie. The viewer is left to fill in and illustrate a lot of the history here themselves. As soon as we see Tim Roth on screen, half that work is already done for us. That's not to say that Tim Roth himself is phoning it in any way. In fact, as much as you do get your share of the usual Tim Rothisms and quirks that we expect from the actor, there's more than one crucial point where he makes choices as an actor that kind of go against what you might expect Tim Roth to do in a situation like this. Throughout the movie, you see him doing things that are potentially threatening or suspicious, but because everything he does is at least, two steps on the right side of the law, neither you nor Rebecca Hall's character have any grounds for making a definitive judgment on what this guy is doing. By the end of the movie, you have a lot of the same questions that you had about him at the beginning, along with a whole lot of other ones. That's because the movie's ending, which did surprise me on more than one level, essentially ends in a way that it leaves the whole movie open for interpretation. The cool thing about that is that it does welcome repeat viewings of the movie, the same way that a David Lynch film might. So much so that even though I don't have a crystal ball, I would not necessarily be surprised if this movie turned out to be a cult classic. And with that in mind, I'm not going to do a spoiler discussion on this one. I could if I really wanted to, but this is one of those movies where the ending is pretty much what you make of it. I can definitely recommend it in any case. I think it's a movie that most people would be surprised by how much they enjoy it if they're willing to give it a chance. So if you have a Shudder subscription and you've seen pretty much everything else that's come out over the last little while, give this one a shot. And just in general, I know this makes me look like a shill, but really, Shudder continues to impress me quite a bit with their originals and exclusives. So whatever you guys are doing, yeah, keep it up. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and look for more content on the channel real soon. Catch you later.